Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here. This is part of my series on the Psoas. That's Psoas with a P, S-O-A-S, Psoas. It's a Greek word. It means loin muscle. So if you don't know your psoas, I'm going to help you find it. It starts, it's responsible for your core strength and your hip flexibility. And the muscle starts right about, it's between your thoracic and your lumbar spine. So it's right about here. It starts here, you can see in my little skeleton, and it hugs the spine, comes in front, and then wraps around your pelvic bone here and attaches to the lesser trochanter of the femur, or in other words, the inside of your thigh bone. So you can see how it connects the upper half of your body to the lower half of your body. It's a big muscle, but it's a very deep muscle in your body. If you have a tight psoas, you can have back pain, pelvic pain, knee pain. You can have an imbalance. And often you get tight psoas from sitting too often, too long. And also if you exercise aerobically, like running or cycling, and you don't stretch afterwards, that will really, really mess up your psoas. That's why stretching after aerobic activity is so important. So I'll be working on the psoas for this week and next. We're going to be using props today. So if you have blocks and a yoga strap, please have them handy. If you don't have a yoga strap, you can use just a belt, a regular belt, because we're not going to go very long on the strap today. So our Dirga breath today will be with the mantra So Hum. So Hum. That's S-O-H-A-M. That is a Sanskrit. Those are Sanskrit words. So means I, hum means am. So hum, I am. And if you do it backwards, hum, so means soul in Sanskrit. So the ancient teachings of the yogis say that every time you breathe, you're breathing into your soul. And every time you breathe, your breath sounds like the words so hum. When you inhale, it's so. When you exhale, it's hum. So we're going to think this today in our heads as we do our deep yoga breath. It connects you to your spirituality. It connects you to turn your conscious inward and helps you concentrate on your breath. So we're going to plug up your ears in just a second here, because I'm going to talk another minute so that you can hear me. And we're going to take our deep, deep belly breaths all the way down to the belly. And as you close your eyes and as you inhale, think the word so. As you exhale, think the word hum. And you'll hear your breath as you do that. And you can hear the ancient yogis also say, when you concentrate this way in your breath, sometimes you'll hear things that really aren't there, like chimes or a waterfall or a hummingbird or something that's not there when you concentrate really hard on your breath internally. All right, so now sit up tall, please. Close off your ears, close your eyes, and start practicing your Dirga breath. We'll do about 10 of them. Slow, even, long and full. So I sort of lost count on how many breaths we've taken, but take 2 more very deep so hum breaths. Bring your breathing back to normal. Unplug your ears. And then open your eyes. And the psoas muscle also attaches to your diaphragm. So the deep breathing that you just did uses your psoas and helps exercise the psoas muscle. Deep breathing is so important for many reasons, and that's just one of many. Let's please take a deep breath in together and Om in. Om Balu Satguru Bhagavan Ki. The divine is the inner teacher. All right. We're going to start in Dandasana, staff pose today. So this staff pose is where your legs are extended in front of you, hip width distance apart. Your legs are straight, but your knees are not locked. Now, if you're sitting up on a bolster, then you want to maybe take a blanket or something rolled up to support your knees. You don't have to, but if you have tight hamstrings, it's a good idea to do that. And if you're not sitting up on a bolster, you want to make sure that you can tilt your pelvis forward. So if you've got really tight hamstrings, it's hard to tilt your pelvis forward unless you raise your bottom on a bolster or a blanket or something that raises your bottom so that you can get that lower arch in your back, your neutral arch in your back. Bring your shoulders down from your ears, hands by your side, tilting the pelvis forward. Feet are flexed, and you keep your feet flexed to tighten your calves. And then think about lifting your thighs without moving your body, but your thighs are lifting toward the ceiling. Your chest is open forward. Your head's right on top of the shoulders. And then take a couple of deep breaths here. Keep aware of your neutral lumbar curve. You don't want to collapse your lower back here in Dandasana. So this is a very active seated pose. Keep your feet flexed. Your knees are not locked, but your legs are straight. Okay, from here, bring your arms up to Urdhva Hastasana, palms facing each other, arms coming right out of the arm sockets. Take a deep breath as you push up with your fingertips. As you exhale, you're going to take your right hand down beside your hip on the mat and your left arm beside your ear in a lateral bend. Don't forget to keep your feet flexed. Don't forget to keep your legs engaged as you do this. And then pull up with your left arm, come back to Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale, fingertips up. Exhale, the right hand comes down and the left arm beside the ear. Opening up your rib cage. Don't allow your sit bone to come up. And breathe. And then push into your left hand, come all the way back up to Urdhva Hastasana. Inhale. Exhale, bring your arms in a T. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the right. So take your left hand and gently put it on the outside of your right thigh. Your right hand goes behind you, right behind you, so that you can keep your spine straight as you twist. Inhale. Exhale, come back to center. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, fingertips reach up. Exhale, arms in a T. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the left. The right hand comes on the outside of the thigh, left hand behind you. And I'm going to remind you again to keep your feet flexed and your muscles in your legs engaged. Your muscles are engaged. Breathe. Inhale. Exhale, back to center. Lift your right leg off the mat and let your fingers clasp underneath your right thigh and hold your right leg up. Bring your chest forward and then reestablish your neutral pelvis here. So don't let your lower back collapse just because you're lifting your leg. Now, this is really hard to do. So you can keep your hand on your leg, but if you can let go for a couple of breaths, try it. You're really using a lot of your hip flexors in doing this, and your psoas is part of your hip flexors. One more breath, and then down. And what we do with one leg, we must do with the other. Left leg up. You can start holding the thigh so that you can lift your leg high and then pull your chest forward and up, tilt the pelvis forward. And then if you choose to let go for a couple of breaths, do so, but don't let your back collapse. One more breath. And then the leg comes down. If you have your strap or belt with you, please grab it. And remain seated in Dandasana. Take the strap in front of you, shoulder width apart. And then inhale, bring the belt over your head, pulling taut on the belt. So your hands are pulling away from each other. Take a deep breath. Exhale, you're going to lean over to the right without collapsing your back. Keep your feet flexed. Inhale back to center. Exhale, lean to the left. Keep the belt taut. And then inhale back to center. Deep breath. Exhale, twist to the right. Deep breath. Exhale, come back to center. Deep breath. Exhale, twist to the left. Deep breath. Exhale, come back to center. Now, come forward from your hips, not your waist, but your hips, holding the belt taut. And keep your pelvis tilted forward. We're going to bend forward fold and take the strap. You might have to throw it over your feet, but however you can get your strap around your feet. Or if you can hold your feet without collapsing your lower back, you can do that too. And then you're going to pull your chest forward so that you reestablish that lumbar curve. Make sure that your knees are not locked. Again, a nice padding underneath the knees will help you keep a slight bend in the knees. And as you fold forward, only go as far as your hamstrings allow. This is a very, very hard pose to do fully. I mean, the full pose is where you put your head on your legs, and I don't recommend that, especially right now, because our muscles are still very cold. They're not warmed up yet. But if you were to forward fold all the way down, your belly would touch your legs first before any other part of your body. And then just hang here for a few breaths and enjoy this gentle stretch, and do make it gentle. You want to feel it, but gently. Couple of really deep breaths. Every time you exhale, you go a little deeper. Keep your head in line with your spine. Don't allow your chin to drop. One more big breath, slowly. And then as you exhale, come back up. And then please come off of if you're sitting on a bolster or any kind of padding, please come off of it. Keep your belt handy and put a loop in it. You may or may not want to use the strap. I'm going to give you an option here. But if you do use it, it's good to have a nice little loop in it so you can loop it around your foot. You'll see what I mean in a minute. Like so. All right. Return to Dandasana. Oh, and I forgot to ask you to get your blocks. One block beside either hip. Now, if you don't have blocks, it is possible to do this with your hands on the mat, but it's just more effective if you have blocks. Props are not crutches. Props help you in your poses. I encourage using them as much as you can. They're an extension of your arms in this case. So keep your pelvis tilted forward, the little arch in your lower back, hands on the blocks, and we're going to push into either the mat or our blocks and lift our body up. Keep your pelvis tilted forward, and then let your bottom come back down. We'll do that a couple of times. We'll lift your bottom up, and then let it come back down. Make sure you keep your abdominals tight here, pelvis tilted forward, lift up. and then down. Make sure your lower back has got that neutral arch in it. Lift up and then down. And then I'm going to challenge you here. If you want to try this one, you have to lean forward. We're going to lift up, but then we're also going to lift our legs off the mat like this. And then come on down, plop. It's hard, but it's not impossible. You have to shift your weight forward, really engage the abdominals. If you want to try it, lean forward, lift the feet, and then down. All right, please bend your right knee towards your chest and your left leg is extended, foot flexed, knee pointing up, toes pointing up. Take your left arm and hug the right knee into your chest. Pull that knee towards you to lengthen your spine upward. Inhale, right hand forward. Exhale, twist all the way around. Plant that right hand behind you to keep your spine vertical as you twist. Now I'm going to turn sideways so you can see what I'm doing here. So here we are. We're going to take our left hand, grab the outside edge of your right foot. Now this is where a belt might come in handy for you. You can just put that loop around that foot instead of holding it with your hand, because what we're going to do here is we are going to lean back on the right hand and then extend the right leg and then keep twisting to the right. This is called the heron pose. And once you're here, you might want to play with just lifting your right hand up behind you. So you're using your belly muscles to hold yourself up and twist. One more breath. And then as you exhale, rebend the knee, bring the foot back down, but keep your strap, if you're using a strap, on that foot. Now, take your left ankle, cross it on top of the right ankle. And then you're going to lean back on your hand and grab either your strap that's on your right foot, or you're going to grab your right foot. And then you're going to lean back. And again, you're going to straighten that right leg. The only difference this time is that your left leg is on top of your right leg, and your right leg is holding up your left leg. And then breathe. This is like a twisted, or it is a twisted Navasana boat pose. And then you can always let go of your back hand as long as you can keep your long spine. Breathe. And then rebend the knees. Bring your feet back to the mat. Extend your legs. And then we're going to bend the left knee into the chest. Flex the right foot, pelvis tilted forward. Take the right arm, hug that knee in toward your chest to lengthen your spine so your chest is coming forward and up. Inhale, left arm forward. Exhale, twist to the left. Plant that hand behind you and breathe into this twist. Keep the right leg engaged. One more breath. And as you exhale, you're going to now take your left hand, or excuse me, your right hand onto the outside of your left foot. Again, use the strap loop if you like here. And then we're going to lean back on our left hand as we straighten the left leg and continue twisting to the left. Your right leg is extended straight, toes pointing up. Breathe. One more breath. And exhale. Bring your foot down for a moment. Take your right ankle on top of the left, and then re-grab your left foot, and using your arm for support, extend your legs long, and then keep twisting. Again here, if you want to let go of your back hand, you can do so as long as you don't sacrifice your spine. One more breath. And then rebend the knees. Bring the feet back down. And come seated with your feet in front of you and your knees bent. A little bit more core work. So I was explaining how the psoas is really important for your core strength because it's the bottom half of your back, really. And you're going to take your hands behind here and pull your chest forward and the crown of your head up. Keep your shoulders down from your ears. So feel that you have a neutral lumbar curve. Don't let your back collapse. Neutral lumbar curve here. And take a couple of breaths, just resting right here with your feet on the mat in this supported oat pose. Rock back onto your sacrum. Lift your feet off the mat. Take a couple of breaths here. Make sure your head stays in line with the spine. Bring the feet back down to the mat. Hug the knees into the chest. Bring your forehead towards your knees. Put the tailbone under so that you're pushing your spine backwards in a C shape. And then come back upright. Reestablish your long spine by grabbing behind your thighs and pulling your chest forward and up again. Keeping that long spine, we're going to take our left hand to the outside, right hand to the outside of the left thigh, left hand behind into a twisted Navasana. And then we'll go in the opposite direction, left hand on the right thigh into the twist. Now come on down onto your forearms. So your elbows are underneath your shoulders here. Your palms are down beside your hips. Tilt your pelvis up so that you have the lumbar curve in your back. You're not collapsing your lower back into the mat. And then keep the abdominals engaged. Keep your back in the neutral spine as you lift your legs about eye level. And then we're going to scissor. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. One more open. One more close. Feet come back down. Push your body up. Hug your knees into the chest. Release the spine. Please roll on to one side or the other so that you can come into your table pose. Pad your knees here if your knees are happier with padding underneath of them. And in table pose, your wrists are underneath your shoulders. Start with a flat back. Knees are underneath the hips. And with a flat back, take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, you're going to bring your bottom towards your heels. Very slowly. Big, long exhale. And then inhale very slowly back up to table, making the breath last. And then exhale into your cat, tucking the tailbone, tucking the chin, arching your back like a scared cat. And then inhale very slowly, making your breath last as you drop your belly down toward the mat. Extend your crown of your head forward, tailbone back, chest open. And again, exhale very slowly, make the breath last as you come back into your arched cat back. And then one more very slow inhale as you come back into your cow pose. And then come back to the neutral table. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, your right knee comes in towards your chest and your left elbow is going to touch your right knee. And then you're going to extend leg and arm out. And then bring the elbow and knee back into touch and then re-extend. And then touch elbow to knee, re-extend. Touch elbow to knee, re-extend, and pause here in this balancing table. Hand comes down, knee comes down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bring your left knee up, right elbow to the knee. Extend. Right elbow to knee, extend, inhale, exhale, elbow to knee, inhale, extend, exhale, elbow to knee, inhale, extend. One more exhale, elbow to knee, and then we'll pause here in the balancing table. Make sure your head stays in line with the spine, your arm and leg are parallel to the mat, and breathe. And then the hand comes down, the knee comes down. Come onto your forearms and from your table position and clasp your hands together and push the outside edge of your hands into your mat and push your forearms into the mat. Walk your feet back so that your body is in a forearm plank. Breathe. This is very strong core work here. And then put your knees back down. Tuck your toes and see if you can lift your knees off the mat, lift your hips up into the air. This is like a downward facing dog, except your forearms are on the mat. This is actually called a dolphin pose. And then bring your knees back down. Unclasp your hands. Come back to table. Tuck the toes. Lift your hips into downward facing dog. So I'll remind you here, spread your fingers wide. Put pressure in the pads of your fingers. There's a slight bend in your knuckles. A lot of pressure on the base of your palm as well. Your head is melting between your arms. Forearms squeeze toward each other to roll the shoulders out. Knees stay bent until you get your spine nice and long. And then you don't have to, but if you want to try to straighten your legs, only do so once your spine is nice and long. Your chest is melting toward your thighs. And then bend your knees a lot as you walk up to your hands and hang here for a breath or two or three in Uttanasana, forward fold. So your knees can be bent as much as you like here. Straighten your legs as much as your hamstrings will allow. And then just hold this for a couple of breaths. Your belly can rest on your thighs here. If you have bent knees, it's fine. And then bend your knees a lot as you slowly rise up. And then inhale, arms up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. And then let's take a breath, pause in Tadasana, active resting pose. Feet are underneath the hips. Hips are underneath the shoulders. Chest is forward, shoulders are down from your ears. Your thighs are rolled inward slightly, palms slightly facing forward, tailbone down, belly's in, head right on top of the shoulders. And take several deep breaths here. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, come into chair. Tailbone down. Thighs are parallel to each other. Or sometimes you can do chair with your legs together too. One more breath. Exhale, keep your knees bent and forward fold all the way down to the mat. Inhale. Exhale, step your right foot back to a high lunge. Inhale. Exhale, step your left foot back to plank. Inhale. Exhale, knees come down, and then bring your chest forward between your arms. Neck is long. This is a modified upward facing dog because our knees are down on the mat. Inhale. Exhale, push back to table. Tuck your toes, push up to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up behind you. Exhale as you bring it up between your hands or pick it up and put it there. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps up next to right. And then slowly rise up. Inhale. Exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, chair. Utkatasana, fierce pose. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps back to a high lunge. Now, when you're in your high lunge, you can use blocks here also. Make sure that your hands are on either side of the foot here and not here or here, just right on either side of the foot. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, step your right foot back to plank. Inhale. Exhale, knees come down, chest shifts forward into a modified upward facing dog, shoulders down, neck long. Inhale. Exhale, push back to table. Inhale. Exhale, tuck toes, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts up behind you. Exhale, bring it up between your hands or pick it up and put it there. Inhale. Exhale, right foot steps up. Slowly rise up. As you inhale, reach up, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, arms in a T, Anjali Mudra. And then let's pause in Tadasana. Couple of breaths here. Reestablish the length of your spine. Reestablish the straightness of your spine. So those lunges that we did in that sequence all use the psoas muscle. Pretty much every time you take a step, you're using your psoas. A couple more breaths in this active, restful position. And then inhale, arms up. Exhale, come into chair. Inhale. Exhale, hands come all the way down. Inhale. Exhale, right foot steps back. Plant your right heel. And then slowly rise up to your warrior one. So in warrior one, your feet are hip width distance apart. They're not in a straight line. Your back foot is diagonally forward. Your front knee is over the ankle. Your chest is open. Tailbone reaching down toward your back heel and equal weight in both feet. We have a tendency to lift the back foot, the outside edge of the back foot. Bend backwards, look up between your hands if you like. Make sure that front knee stays steady. Chest open. Take a deep breath. Now, as you exhale, you're gonna pivot to warrior two. So your arms are gonna come vertical or parallel to the ground. You're gonna step your back foot in slightly. So now your feet are lined up, heel to arch. The chest is facing the long edge of the mat, even though your head is turned forward. Make sure the front knee doesn't fall in. Keep it steady above the ankle, arms parallel, and tailbone down so that you're not overarching your lower back. Okay, then swing the arms back forward as you move your back foot out slightly back to your warrior one. Inhale, exhale, pivot onto your right toes. Bring your hands down to high lunge. Shift the weight onto your left foot so you can step up with your right foot. And then slowly rise up. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. Tadasana. Pause for a couple breaths here. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, chair. Utkatasana. Inhale. Exhale, forward fold all the way down. Inhale. Exhale, left foot steps back. Left heel gets planted. And then come up to warrior one on this side. So your left hip is going to try to swing forward. Your right femur is going to go back into the hip socket. Chest open, equal weight in both feet. Don't overarch your lower back. If you want to lean back and look up, please do so. Take a couple of deep breaths here. And now we'll windmill our arms to warrior two position. Your head is facing forward. Take your back foot and shift it toward the midline so that your front heel is lined up with the back arch. Your back foot is slightly angled, tailbone down, chest is alongside of the mat, but your head is facing the front. Make sure your shoulders aren't creeped up by your ears. Breathe. Make sure the front knee doesn't sway in. Back arm, make sure it doesn't drop. Okay, swing your arms back forward as you reposition your feet back to warrior one, hip width distance apart. Inhale, exhale, pivot onto your left toes, hands come down to a high lunge. Take a deep breath. As you exhale, shift your weight to your right foot, step up with your left foot. And then slowly rise up. Inhale, exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. And then Tadasana. Reestablish your spine, reset your body into a nice, long, straight spine. We'll do a one-legged balance, which is also a quad stretch. Flamingo pose. You can shift your weight to the left foot or whatever foot you want to start with, as long as you keep track of what leg you're using. And then the other knee comes up so that you can grab the ankle and then bring the foot behind you into your bottom and then your arm beside your ear. And then breathe a couple of breaths here. Have your chest open. Hand comes down, foot comes down. Shake all that out and shift to the other foot. Knee forward so that you can grab your ankle, bring the foot behind into your bottom and the arm beside your ear. Try to keep your knees relatively even. One more breath, or two, or three. And then release, reset your spine in Tadasana. If you're off your mat, please come back to the mat. And grab your blocks. Place them in front of you. And then return to Tadasana. Now we're going to do it we're going to do a standing split. Now, a standing split is different than warrior three. So a standing split, we're going to come down and lift the leg. I'm going to just demonstrate first. You're going to lift one leg behind you. In warrior three, your head would be forward. In standing split, your nose is to your knee and your leg is up higher behind you. Okay, so you don't have to use the blocks here, but it just really depends on the flexibility of your hamstrings here. So inhale up, exhale, bend the knees, come on down to the mat or blocks, and then shift the weight onto your left foot as you raise your right leg behind you as high as it'll go, and then point your nose towards your knee. And breathe. Once you bring your foot back down, slowly rise up. And then inhale. Exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. And then pause in Tadasana. Reset the spine. And then inhale up. Exhale, bend the knees, forward fold all the way down. And then shift the weight onto the right foot as your left leg comes behind you. Your hands are on the blocks or on your mat. Your nose is going toward your knee so that the crown of your head is pointing down. One more big, slow breath. And then bring your foot down. Once more, slowly rise up. Inhale. Exhale, arms in a T. Anjali Mudra. And Tadasana. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bend your knees, forward fold all the way down. And then step both feet back to your downward facing dog. Kick your right leg up behind you, bend the right knee, and open the knee out to the side so that you can look under your left armpit and see your foot. And then bring that foot down. Inhale. Exhale, left foot kicks back behind you. Open the left knee out to the side. Maybe you can see your foot underneath your right armpit. And then that foot comes back down, downward facing dog. Knees come down to the mat. And then sit all the way back to your heels into a child pose, resting your forehead on something, mat, block, hands. And you can choose either an extended child pose here, where your arms are extended in front of you and your spine is nice and long, or you can bring your arms beside your body in the resting child pose with your palms facing up so that the backs of your hands are on the mat beside your feet. And rest here for a few more breaths. And then please push up and then come onto your backs with your knees bent. Make sure your blocks are handy. Flatten your shoulders down on the mat. Keep your knees hip width distance apart, feet hip width distance apart. Legs are parallel to each other. Arms are by your sides. And then bend at your elbows so that your fingertips are pointing toward the ceiling. I call this robot arms. And then take your palms and turn the palms toward your face. And see if you can flatten your shoulders down a little bit more on the mat. Now slowly, as you inhale, lift your hips, push into your feet, push into the upper arms, and roll your spine up into the bridge pose. Make sure that your legs stay parallel to each other as you do this. Bring your chest up toward your chin. Roll all the way down to the tops of your shoulders. And if you want to take your hands underneath of your body, clasp them and push your little pinkies down into the mat underneath your bottom. Do that. Stay here for a couple more breaths. Keep pushing the chest up toward the chin. Don't move your head while you're here. And if your hands are clasped, unclasp them. And then slowly roll your spine back down to the mat, one vertebra at a time. And then when your hips hit down, take your hands and push against your thighs and push your lower back into the mat. A little bit of a counter pose here to the bridge. And then release, bring your elbows back by your sides. Start palms facing each other, then flip the palms so that it's facing toward your head. And then we'll come up into bridge again, slowly rolling your spine up, chest comes toward your chin. Flatten your shoulders on the mat, the tops of your shoulders. See if you can roll all the way to the tops of your shoulders. Keep your legs parallel to each other. Don't let your knees splay outward. And then if you want to clasp your hands underneath your body and push your pinkies into the mat, you can do that now or leave your hands as they were. And then breathe in this bridge pose a couple of breaths. And every time you exhale, maybe get your chest a little bit up toward your chin, just a little bit more. And then if you have your hands clasped, unclasp them. Return to robot arms as you slowly roll your spine down, one vertebra at a time. Let your hips touch down. Take your hands on top of your thighs and push them away as you press your lower back into the mat. And then release. Grab your block or a pillow or a bolster and lift your hips, sacrum on the block. And you can either stay here. This is a supported bridge pose, which is very relaxing, or you can raise your legs up into the waterfall pose. And then focus on your breath. Relax your head and your jaw, relax your neck. Couple more seconds here. And then bring your feet down to the mat. If they're not already, lift your hips and remove the block. Bend your knees, hug your knees into your chest. Roll on your spine, both directions. And then place your feet back down on the mat and have them wide, like the width of your mat. Bring your arms in a T. Push into your feet and shift your hips to the right 1 inch as you allow your knees to fall to the left. Keep your chest open. Your knees don't have to touch all the way down. Now, I'm going to give you a choice here. This really depends on your own flexibility. You can take your upper leg, which you can either stay in this twist or take your upper leg and extend it and roll onto the opposite hip, this case, the left hip, and then grab your foot with your hand. Your bottom leg is still bent. Now, another option, you can either stay here or you can take your bottom foot and grab it with the opposite hand and bring that heel into your bottom. So lots of options here. It really depends on your own body. And then release. Wherever you are, come back to center. Reshift your hips back to center. Bring your knees, your feet wide apart, arms in a T, and then now your knees are going to fall to the right. And either stay here, this is a wonderful twist in itself, or take your top leg, extend it, grab it with your right hand, And final option is to grab the other foot with the other hand. So our muscles are nice and warm now, so this makes this particular stretch here especially delicious. And then if you've grabbed your feet, release or shift your knees back to center, shift your hips back to center and hug your knees into your chest. Roll on your spine once more. Place your feet back down on the mat. Return your arms to a T. Palms facing up, chest nice and open. Walk your feet together and then bring the soles of your feet together as you allow your knees to fall out to the sides. In the reclined Baddha Konasana, Supta Baddha Konasana. And then just allow gravity to open your groin area. Stretch open the psoas. And breathe deeply. And maybe think here of the mantra, so hum. So as you inhale, hum as you exhale. One more breath here. Exhale, take your hands to the outside of your thighs and gently bring your knees together. Bring your knees back into your chest one more time. Hug the knees in. And then return your feet to the mat and extend your legs long into your favorite Shavasana. And as you relax your body, focus on your breath. Slow down your breathing. And pay special attention right now to your psoas and release that muscle completely. And soften your belly, soften your chest. Shoulders down from the ears, relax your neck and your jaw. Relax all your facial features. So those of you who I have not introduced Mary Oliver to, this is I'm an American poet, famous for the imagery in her poems. And imagery is a really good way to relax the mind. So I'm going to read you her poem called Hum, H-U-M. What is this dark hum among the roses? The bees have gone simple, sipping, that's all. What did you expect? Sophistication? They're small creatures, and they are filling their bodies with sweetness. How could they not moan in happiness? The little worker bee lives, I have read, about 3 weeks. Is that long? Long enough, I suppose, to understand that life is a blessing. I have found them, haven't you? Stopped in the very cups of the flowers, their wings a little tattered, so much flying about to the hive, then out into the world and back, and perhaps dancing. Should the task be to be a scout? Sweet dancing bee. I think there isn't anything in this world I don't admire. If there is, I don't know what it is. I haven't met it yet, nor do I expect to. The bee is small, and since I wear glasses so I can see the traffic and read books, I have to take them off and bend close to study and understand what is happening. It's not hard. It's, in fact, as instructive as anything I have ever studied. Plus, too, it's love almost too fierce to endure, the bee nuzzling like that into the blouse of the rose, and the fragrance, and the honey, and of course the sun, the purely pure sun shining all the while over all of us. Please enjoy the next few moments of inner bliss and solitude as you focus on your breath and focus on the mantra, so hum, I am, or hum, so, soul. Focus on your soul and the mantra, so hum, so. Please bring your awareness back to your breath and deepen your breathing as you make small movements with hands and feet to gently wake up the body. Please bend your knees toward your chest and roll onto your right side in a fetal position to seal the practice. And in doing so, you are sealing off the masculine side of your body, the right side, which is hot, fiery, bright. And you're exposing the feminine side of your body, the left side, which is cool, dark, calm. And that calmness will carry you for the rest of your day. Please very slowly, keeping a quiet mind, push up to seated. And then please, if you care to, join me with the closing chant. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May the entire universe be filled with peace and joy, love and light. Victory to the Cat Rock yoga class and to the inner teacher. Jai Shri Satguru Maharaj Ki Jai. Knuckles to my forehead honors God. Knuckles to my chin honors you. Knuckles to my heart honors myself. Namaste. And Jai Yogis.